Recording.
Alright.
I think we just focus on him.
Alright.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm Morgan.
Who?
Morgan.
Morgan.
I'm Brianna.
And I'm Michael.
Hi, Michael. I'm lousy on names, but I'm being shocked if I mess up.
This one is
I'm Bobcat.
You just asked him these questions. It's from, as long as he was like in the war, if you don't have the what is it? Civilian one. If you don't have that.
Oh, this one
works.
So first we want you to make an introductory announcement at the start.
Sorry?
An introductory. So
Right,
like stating
So like
your,
introducing yourself.
Oh, okay.
like stating your name, your place of interview, your birthday, your current address, and that's all.
Okay. All right. We ready?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Bob Campbell. We're at the VFW 3323 on Avondale and Wayne Road, across from Town and Country Bowling Alley. I live in Wayne on Mildred Street, right up the street from the 7-Eleven. And
What branch did you serve?
I was in the Marine Corps,
Marine Corps, and which war?
Vietnam.
What was your rank?
I was corporal when I got out.
Corporal?
That's an E4. It's NCO.
So where were you drafted, or where did you enlist?
Marines always enlist.
Oh, okay.
And I was living in Cincinnati, Ohio when I enlisted. But I
Where
grew
were
up
you
in
living
Detroit.
at the time?
I was living in Cincinnati, but I grew up in Detroit.
Why did you join?
Because basically I'd already, I knew people that were Marines. It was a natural progression for me to join in the Marine Corps. I always said if the people that knew me in Detroit ever found out I joined a different service, they'd have died laughing.
Was there a specific reason why you chose that service branch?
Yes, pride.
Pride?
Pride. And I thought we were going to be going to war with the Soviet Union. I wanted good training.
Do you recall your first days in service?
Yes, I do.
You want to tell us about them?
Well, all right. I went and I came in. I signed up on my birthday. 2 weeks later, I was on a plane out to San Diego. When I landed in San Diego, here's this little guy stands up to here on me, wearing a beaver cap, a Smokey the Bear hat, screaming at the top of his lungs. All right, at us. Get out, get on the bus, get on the bus. All right, and this is in a public airport. You gotta think, what did I just do?
So what did it feel like?
Huh?
What did it feel like?
Well, the idea is they've got 8 weeks to take you from somebody who's whistling at the girls in the corner to somebody who, when people are trying to do damage to you, you're going to keep going.
So tell me about
there's a lot of culture shock.
like the training. Tell me about your training.
Our training, we did a lot of physical training, a lot of marching. Physical training was obstacle courses, PT, push-ups, pull-ups, sit-ups, all that kind of thing. And you're using different muscles than you did outside, especially since you're only 18. You've never worked it. It's not like you came off a construction site where you've been doing heavy work.
Yeah.
But I was a big guy, and I was always a fairly strong guy.
I was just gonna ask, how did you get through it?
Huh?
I was just gonna ask, how did you get through it?
A day at a time. And when you go through boot camp, when we went through boot camp, everybody was targeted for a while. They tried me. Couldn't do anything right. People were screaming at you all the time, and you got to maintain your discipline, not scream back at them. Not try to hit them. And so, they'd work on you for a bit when they saw you were okay. what they considered okay, but they didn't let you know that. Then they'd go to the next guy. And there were three of them. You had the bad guy, you had the good guy, and you had the fair guy. I found out later, every series, they changed position. Yeah, the same guy who was the bad guy this time, now he's the good guy, giving everybody cigarette breaks and that kind of thing. That was so that they weren't constantly the bad guy.
Where exactly did you go?
Huh?
Where exactly did you go?
You mean where did I serve? All right, I went when I got out of boot camp. I went to Camp Pendleton, California. I was there for a year.
Huh.
Then I went to. I was transferred to Camp Schusab, Okinawa. On the way there, I hit Hawaii, Japan, and then I hit Okinawa. I was there for about 3 months, and that was when Vietnam started. So we were the ones tapped to go first. And then I came back to Okinawa on my R&R. Came back again to train the new guys who were going over. I was there for 2 weeks, and then we went to the Philippines. When I got, and then back to Vietnam. When I came back, I went to Camp Lejeune, and when I walked in, it was my old first sergeant from Camp Pendleton. And he looks up at me, he says, "Glad to see you could make it." He says, "How would you like to see Europe?" I'm not even thinking. I said, "I'm not even used to round eyes yet." Round eyes being European descended girls. Goodbye. I ended up on the med cruise. And I wasn't even thinking, of course, I'm headed to Europe, where the round eyes were originally from. So,
Do you remember arriving and what it was like?
yeah, we made a beach assault. All right, at that time, they had pockets that the Vietnamese controlled. They controlled Da Nang, they controlled the airport. But you get a couple miles out of town, and the VC and Vietnamese contested it. All right, it wasn't totally safe. So we land as a beach assault. Of course, all we know is they tell us, get on the tractors, load up your live rounds, and drive to that shore. And that's what we did. And we had the grunts with us. And so we go, and they drop us about a half a mile offshore, about a mile offshore, and head in, come up on the shore, open our ramps, and the grunts come out with their rifles and set up the perimeter and start moving up. And we're sitting there, and there's a bunch of mama sons out there with cokes and beers and pineapples and coconuts to sell it to us. So that was my introduction to Vietnam. Oh, it was about 113 degrees in the shade, and I know because we had thermometers.
What was your job or assignment?
I drove an amphibious tractor. That's an LVTP 5A1. And we had, we would come off of a boat, an LST or an LSD, like I said, in the deep water out in the ocean. And we'd drive into shore for assaults. Because we had tracks, once we got to shore, we just kept going. All right? And it turned out we were the only thing that could, tanks couldn't go through rice paddies. Ontos, none of the normal track vehicles could, but we could, because of the design of our vehicles. In fact, they had paddles on the track, built into the track to go through the water. So we ended up doing basically not just our personnel carrier type work, in other words, moving men and materials, but we also ended up providing support. And we had a 30 caliber machine gun, which is how we were supposed to protect ourselves and support the troops. But when they found out tanks couldn't go on the rice paddies, They put 20 millimeter cannons on top of us and sandbagged them in, so that in order to get heavy firepower where we needed to go.
Did you ever see combat?
Yes.
Were there many casualties in your unit?
We lost, the guys I landed with, we lost, about 6 or 7 of them. And I'm the only man out of my platoon that I know about that did not get a Purple Heart. That is a ribbon that you get, or the medal that you get for having been wounded, drawn blood as a result of enemy action. So out of 32 men, I'm the only man that didn't get one. And that means I was very, very lucky.
Tell me about one of your most memorable experiences.
Well, I just told you.
Oh, that?
That landing is probably the most memorable one because it was so ridiculous. As far as anything about a battle or something like that, I wouldn't get into that. You guys don't need to know it. You don't need to hear it as bad enough I do.
Well, how did you stay in touch with your family?
Mail. We had no internet or cell phones or anything like that.
What was food like there?
Food? We had what they call sea rations. All right? And because I spent most of my time in the field, that's mainly what I ate. There was like 12 different meals. Some of them were really, really horrendous. There were a couple of them that were edible. All right? But it was better than being in base camp. In base camp, we got spam and eggs in the morning. This menu never varied. Spam and powdered eggs in the morning, and you had powdered milk or coffee, or both. Lunchtime was fried spam sandwiches.
That's it?
Dinner time we got spam and powdered eggs and some kind of canned vegetable.
Did you feel stress or pressure?
Obviously, people are trying to are not looking out for our people, how your buddies are. But the enemy is trying to do you harm.
How did you entertain yourself?
Huh?
How did you entertain yourself while you were there?
All right. We all had baseballs, footballs, basketballs. You had card games all the time. Mainly, you talked to everybody looked forward to mail call. And mainly, you just bullshitted with each other, talked about where you'd been, what you'd done, talked about your life before you went in the service, girl that got left behind, and all that kind of thing. Or the girls that were planning on going back to, but then when they'd get their dear John, and everybody did.
Did you take any pictures or write a diary while you were there?
We were not allowed to write a diary because if I got a diary and I get captured, that gives my interrogators ammunition to use against me. So you didn't do that.
So you don't have any photos or anything?
There were guys that had pictures, but I was never one for people to do that.
Where did you travel? No, we already asked the question. Was there something that you did for good luck over there?
Not really. You did what you had to do, and prayed that you didn't get wounded.
So, what did you do when you were out of service? After that was all over, where did you
go? I got out in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina, and I came back up to Michigan. I spent a couple of days in North Carolina, saying goodbye to people I knew, and got on a train to Toledo, and started hitchhiking home. I came up 94 and crossed to Kalamazoo. And my last ride into Kalamazoo, the guy had a standard station, standard gas station, and you could see I just got out of the military. And my haircut, and I'm carrying a sea bag, and I got everything I own with me. Kind of obvious. And offered me a job. So the next day I went to work.
Did you have problems adjusting from like the war back to regular life?
No, I came up a hard life. I went to twice as schools and 4 high schools in Detroit. So I'm a fairly resistant person. Not resistant, resilient person. I pretty well adapt to any situations. And that's the way it was.
Do you continue any of your relationships, like with any of your war buddies?
No, we were friends when we were together, but we rotated from duty station to duty station singly, by ourselves. We didn't go as a unit from one place to another. Like when I left Camp Pendleton, I was by myself. They sent me to a MATS ship, military transport ship. And then I got, when I reported in, I was the only guy going to the platoon I went to. Yeah. And we rotated like that, in and out. So I'd run into somebody, a year later or something like that, but that was it.
What did you go on to do as a career after the war?
No, I knocked around a bit. I was a fry cook. I worked punch press. I drove a truck. I drove cab. When I met my wife down at Tiger Stadium, she was a waitress across the street. When I was driving cab on Trumbull, and she had kids. So once we decided we were going to get married, then I went to Ford Motor for the benefits. And while I was at Ford's, I took a couple years of college, but I did it for knowledge rather than looking for an upgrade in pay and that, although I did end up at salary for a while. But that wasn't my thing.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Yeah. We would go into a village after the North Vietnamese or the VC had finished with it and cleaned up the mess. And so I knew there was a reason for us to be there. These were not nice people we were dealing with. And so I knew that there was reason to be at war. But see the horror of it. No military guy wants to go to war unless there's a really good reason. That includes, our professional military right now, the generals. They know what they're sending guys into when they go to war. So you find out it's politicians who go to war, not military.
So my question was since you were in the war, would you recommend anyone joining the war after your experiences? Do you feel like?
I recommend anybody to go in the military. I grew up a lot in the military. I was fairly grown up when I went in because of having knocked around as much as I did. 26 schools and 4 high schools, you're not a kid anymore. All right. But military is 90% of the people go in the military. They grow up. 10% get worse. Whatever their problems were going in, they get worse. It's what we call the But most people go in the military, they learn self-discipline. They learn they can do things that they would not have believed possible. One of the things we do in boot camp is it's team building exercise. You put a platoon on a telephone pole, and you just tell them, pick it up. Well, of course we can't. Telephone poles are heavy. Say, okay, now we do it our way. And they buy the numbers. 1, that's lift. Here comes the pole, because we're all pulling at the same time. Okay. 2, you put it on your shoulder. 3, you lift it over above your head. 4, and it works. That same pole that we couldn't lift, we're moving it around like it's a matchstick, because we were doing it together instead of individually.
Is there anything that you would like to add, like for us to know, or anything that you would want to tell?
Well, you're the first one I told that story to, and if I'd have thought about it, I'd have brought that up then, after the others. I've had a number of these interviews. I'm the guy they call when you guys need somebody to talk to.
Is there anything else?
Huh?
Is there anything else that you would ever want to tell?
Oh, yeah. You're lucky to be in the country you're in. Vietnam, civilians there had to deal with people fighting around them, and there was a lot of collateral damage. And that happened in Europe in the Second World War. It hasn't happened here since the Civil War. So,
last question, like, from all the death and the horror that you saw, did it change? Like, how did you feel after the war was all over? Did you have, like, problems adjusting to that, like, reality?
Adjusting to reality, no. I told you, I went twice to school to 4 high schools. I did not have a good life, all right, as a kid. I was from a single-parent family before that. But I've known a lot of guys who have problems. All right, and I can see how it happens. And I grew up on 12th Street in Mac, and I saw bad things before I went in. These kids grew up out here. Mama probably made their bed in the morning. And then they go into that kind of a situation. It's not a good thing. But most dealt with it. Most deal with it. The 10%ers I was talking about, 10% is not necessarily a bad thing. It doesn't mean they're bad people. It means that they had to deal with something that they could never have envisioned, and it affected them, some in a bad way, some others in other ways. Okay. That's what they're talking about when you hear about PTSD, post-traumatic stress syndrome. Some of you, especially you girls, you might know a girl that was raped, that's a survivor but is not dealing with it well. That's what that is. She's going through that too. See what I'm saying?
Were you awarded any medals or anything while you were in?
Oh yeah, I got a chest full.
Yeah.
But none of them for individual valor. My ribbons come from having actually been where I was in combat situations. Being part of it, I got the Presidential Unit Citation, which you might consider as an individual award, but it's not. It's a unit award because of operations that we were in. Combat action ribbon means I actually came into combat. I actually was shot. But as far as charging an enemy bunker or anything like that, no.
I'm Morgan.
Brianna.
And I'm Michael.
Bob.
Bob.
Yeah, Bob Campbell.
Bob Campbell.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, that was a nice interview.
That was kind of short.
Yeah.